Just when you think that you're going to take a small break from Indian cinema on holiday, they throw you a curveball with a big announcement, so much so that you have to talk about it. The Toxic teaser, two movies not budging from their release date. What will be their ultimate fate? Let's break it down. I think ever since the marketing material of Toxic has dropped, many questions have propped up in the minds of the audience. What is this movie based on? Is Yash still dealing with the hangover of KGF? Does Geetu Mohandas have full reign of the directorial vision of this movie? And more importantly, are the heavy delays of this movie going to ultimately hamper its impact and the hottest debate among people? Is Toxic now playing catch up with the absolute mania that Dhurandhar has caused at the box office? With multiple changes in the original cast and a budget that ballooned up to a reported size of 600 crores, the perception of the audience went from curiosity to skepticism. I mean, I respect the risk that Yash is taking. He's not piggybacking off of doing just KGF 3, but as more and more posters have dropped, my worry for this film grew exponentially. What happened in chronological order of what at least we got to know about this film is that Geetu Mohandas will be flipping the script in the gangster genre. This especially became set in stone when the female cast members were revealed from the film, making one genuinely wonder, is this really going to be a shocking scenario in which the male star is an organic part of the ensemble cast versus just taking the reins of being the lead and the face of the project? But with the birthday post and teaser, it seems like the movie has transitioned from an interesting and eccentric project with many talented actors to a Yash action starrer, giving us a reminder of KGF again with its style, editing pattern, gory action and stylistic shots with Yash versus having its own unique identity. I must say that there is one thing what I do not side with when it comes to the criticism levied on the makers of Toxic, that they aren't aiming the absolute wild and obnoxious. This is why we love some projects in Indian cinema. Creators who are willing to attempt the audacious irrespective of the outcome. When I see some of the frames of Toxic, I am genuinely intrigued because it seems to be covering a global storyline versus something that is set in a period restricted to a geographical area. I mean, you've got everything from casinos, carnivals, and even goddamn soldiers dropping in parachutes in snow-covered mountains ready for battle as if the Soviet Union was facing Finland in the White War. I do hope, however, that the makers are establishing these locations well in the screenplay versus falling into the trap of what the YRF spy universe found itself get embroiled in so many times, where the elements of land, water and ice, where action set pieces were not particularly necessary but are integrated into the screenplay because one assumes it is necessary for commercial movies with scale. You know, when Amir Khan was once asked why Indian creators cannot imagine and think like the over-the-top creative projects in the West, he said the line by the poet Dushant Kumar, saying, "कौन कहता है कि आसमान में सुराख नहीं हो सकता? एक पत्थर तो तबीयत से उछाल के देखो यारो." So in an era where we say that the industry has become risk-averse, where we are not doing anything but franchises, I still can back the makers of Toxic to at least attempt the wild. Whether or not it becomes an absolute disaster or strikes gold is immaterial. While I think that the first birthday post was literally shock value, a combination of violence and sex that creates outrage and discussion versus interest for the film and its plot, I think this teaser, while following most of the beats of the editing pattern of KGF's action sequences, does prop up more questions in me versus complete disinterest for the film entirely. A fairy tale for grown-ups, the synopsis of the movie states that the movie will be set in Goa from the 1940s to the 1970s. Colonial shadows and crime syndicates is essentially the world we will be transported to. I assume this is the reason why there are so many foreign extras in every frame of the film. This is also where Yash, I presume, will build his empire from the ground up. I assume there will be a lot of illegal and international trade happening, with China also being part of the same syndicate. I also assume the reason why the action will take place in these international locations is that Yash will be a stickler for making sure his debt gets repaid. Again, what seems like a hangover from KGF, where Rocky Bhai was adamant that even a single gold coin should not remain uncounted. A man who is obsessed with the empire that he has built and can't tolerate anyone stealing from him. What I have to say with the teaser, and again an extension of attempting the audacious, I love what cinematographer Rajiv Ravi is attempting to pull off in capturing several of these settings in the movie. If the worst case scenario emerges that I find Toxic not to be very engaging from a storyline POV, I must say at least the glimpse of the action seems stylized and effective. Barring the window sequence from the teaser where a goon's neck is dragged across broken glass. It immediately reminded me of the Hindi Vikram Vedha where Hrithik was attempting the same. What is one aspect of the teaser, and I noticed this as a movement with pan-Indian films, is that there is this odd need to integrate half-baked English dialogues for style. This is what we saw with KGF and the violence dialogue, and here we have Yash repeating the same trend with his "it's not over until I say it's over," and when he beats up a person to death for not having any manners. I genuinely believe that the brilliance or success of some of these pan-Indian movies across history is not because they cater to everyone, but because they are effective in their specific industries, and the storyline is what is immersive to the audience, not well versed with, say, even Yash and his filmography. When you do these half-baked English dialogues, they generally sound like misplaced nursery rhymes versus the badass stylish dialogues the hero or the makers are assuming. Even when Yash ends the teaser with the dialogue "I'm home, daddy," doesn't it have to be "daddy's home" like Randy Orton does it so well in WWE with the line "daddy's back"? Or am I missing something that Yash will have some case of daddy issues in this movie and he is referring to an actual father figure in this movie? What do you think about this trend with pan-Indian films and this obsession with half-baked English dialogues? I'm genuinely curious. I must say the consistent thread that I did love from the teaser was that I assumed initially that Yash was constantly ashing away from the ashtray, and it was making me genuinely annoyed on why he was doing so, only for it to be revealed that it was being done by someone he may be having a meeting with. Breaking his face with the ashtray making sense why Yash was annoyed and told him to have some manners. It reminded me of the iconic scene in The Departed where Leonardo DiCaprio smashes a guy's face with a glass when he makes fun of him for having cranberry juice by saying that he must be on his period. It's peak build-up of annoyance and for someone to absolutely lose their mind. I did also love Yash's look in the end, which may be a chapter from the movie showcasing his origin story because he looked significantly lean and younger in this portion of the teaser. But as I keep on talking about the teaser, it's crazy that beyond the stylistic frames and settings, I am only talking about one thing: Yash. And I feel like that is extremely concerning for a project, especially when compared to Dhurandhar. Do you remember the trailer of Dhurandhar or even the teaser that many people were dragging actually? What was the most unique aspect of it? The most unique aspect was that no one was hogging the screen time of the teaser and trailer of Dhurandhar. It genuinely seemed like a tale or saga where each character were given the weight and importance of what they lent to the storyline. The trailer almost took the shape of character introductions versus a trailer that reveals how key plot points were explored in the screenplay. Here, however, it concerningly seems like a Yash vanity project, and I think that should have everyone's red flags on high alert. What I do not like about the teaser is that it solely focuses on Yash as the man featuring in almost every frame of the teaser. The small glimpses that we do see of the women in the teaser is either them being grabbed for the purpose of fornicating or they are trapped by one of the gangs, of course the circumstance in which Yash will save them. For all the marketing material and hype of the women in this project, for them not to even feature in the teaser or even have one dialogue makes me genuinely worried on whether the narrative has completely been hijacked to cater to just Yash as the star. I hope I am proven wrong and I can see the director Geetu Mohandas' voice appear as we get closer to the trailer releasing. And that was the video, guys. Write down in the comments below what you thought about the Toxic teaser. Please don't forget to follow me on Instagram. The handle's right in front of you. Follow me at JammyPants4. Also, please support us by smashing the like button and subscribing to our channel for weekly content ahead. Thank you for watching.